Fiction, science fiction, horror, fantasy, crime, LGBT, thriller.
You have now entered the House of Mystery.
Welcome back into the House of Mystery. I'm Al Warren. We've got Mr. Dave North Martino.
Oh, wow. My full name. I feel like...
You must be in trouble.
Yeah, I know. It's like my mother calling me that, or, when I was a kid.
Yeah, well, it's the serial killer name. Three names.
Exactly.
We go all the way, right? It's important here.
I'll have to add my middle name.
I've been bugging
It'll be
you
4.
enough. I thought I'd behave for one show. So
Behave? What? Yeah.
Well, because, because people start commenting about how mean I am, and then it's like, well, so I'm kind of getting ahead of time, right? And just so that I kind of say, well, no, look at this show. I was nice.
Yeah, you can have a reprieve.
Yeah, so I could have a response rather than saying, okay, Anyway, speaking of violence and rudeness and stuff, we've got an author with us today. He's got a new book out called Ashme Song.
That's me.
Brad C. Anderson. He is Ashme. So welcome.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm in trouble too, apparently. I got my full name out there as well.
Well, yeah, you are always in trouble. Anybody from Canada, Kanakistan is in trouble.
All right. You got to watch out for those guys. Yeah.
A bunch of bad people trying to make...
bringing their snow.
Yeah, make U.S. a 51st state, I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if you guys would like us. I don't know if you guys... I was like, I don't know what Trump is thinking. I don't think you guys would like to have us as we want all our health care. We don't want guns. I don't think you'd appreciate having us on board.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought. But they don't know what they're getting themselves into.
And it's cold. I mean, have you seen the weather up here? We're all in Celsius. What the hell is that?
Yeah, doesn't make sense. It always sounds cold.
Yeah. Even when it's hot, it's only 30.
Yeah.
We're coming to take your Canadian bacon.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And your maple syrup and your Canada Dry ginger ale.
Yeah, okay, you got that. Yeah, you got us. Yeah.
That's it. That's all we have.
That's about it, yeah.
Have you seen that great Canadian maple syrup caper yet?
I haven't seen it. I'm looking. I want to see it. I was like, didn't even realize that was a crime you could do here in Canada. But there you go.
Yeah, it's pretty cool actually, and Jamie Lee Curtis did a really good job. It's really done well. She really captures Canadian.
That's awesome.
Well,
it's on my list to check out.
Yeah, it's definitely a must see. I was truly impressed with it. I was so surprised that. They did it really well, and it's funny, and it's based on a true story. It's just
I know
they changed
it is. Blew my mind. I say once I get out of my maple syrup coma, I'll probably get around to watching that.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's a good one. So what's going on in your life now? This is a new book for you, and what's this book about? What are people going to get in this book?
All right, yeah, so this is Ashme's song. The main character, Ashme, she's being torn between fighting for her people, looking after her family, and her values. So, the story is, it's a science fiction story set far, far, far in the future on a planet far, far away. She belongs to this group, this nation that has been conquered generations ago. They're very marginalized. They live, in the suppressive regime. She wants to fight for her people. She wants to join this resistance, but she's got a brother who is a special needs brother and needs constant attention. And she's this young woman. She wants to go out, make a name for herself, be a hero and all that, but she's got this brother that she has to look after. And so she's like, what's the right thing to do? Should I be fighting for my people, or should I be taking my brother and getting out of the country someplace safe?
Oh, so what'd she do? She put him down and then fight, or what?
Yeah, the pillow. Yeah, no, that was, that did not occur to me when I was writing. That would make a short story.
Yeah. See, this is why I can't be a writer,
Yeah, chapter 1, done. All right.
It's over. Yeah, that was it. She goes, take a bath.
I thought you were being nice. Was this the episode you're being nice or not?
Well, I'm being nice.
You're going to get comments now.
Yeah, no, I'm being nice today. But,
see, it's coming out in other ways.
Yeah, I'm taking it out on your
on on fictional characters. Yeah. I love it.
Well, put them down, get it over with. Fight.
Yeah, roll credits. Yeah.
Well, then book 2 is the fight.
There you go. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, how do you write a female character? Like, what's the biggest challenge for you to write from the mindset of a female taking care of her brother?
Honestly, so I just, that's a fun question. I just approached her as a character. She's got a backstory. She's got wants. The story is not about necessarily women's issues, so I wasn't writing from that perspective. So it was just wrote her as a character. She's got, hopes and dreams, family, backstory. She's got scars from her past. Just like, that's how I approached it.
Well, that's all you need.
If there's, yeah, exactly. That's all you need. Romantic interest would be, a challenge to write from a woman's perspective. For me, it would be difficult. For me, it would be difficult to write from a woman's perspective. A romantic interest. Yeah. Funny how that works. So, things like that would be challenging, but things that are just like, hey, this is, human nature, human looking at, just being people. Just wrote her as I would write any character.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think I agree with that. I think that's, your focus is more about the situation and.
Exactly. Yeah.
And people feel pain or happiness, sadness, anger, all the same, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't change.
Yeah. Exactly. People care for their family. People want things in their lives. I found probably a lot of research kind of goes into for her because she's the predominant caretaker of her brother, of her special needs brother. So a lot of the research kind of went into like that was the the challenge, right? Like looking into research, what's going on in their minds, what's their lived experience like, and trying to create an authentic experience from that perspective. That was actually the part that I needed to do more research on when I was creating that character.
Yeah, that's always.
Well, how do you approach the world building? Do you also have to do a lot of research to create a new world?
Yeah, so I do love world building, and it's one of those things you can get carried away with world building. You don't want to do world building just for the sake of it. Well, you can, but that's not how you write a story. So a lot of it really comes down to you got to focus your world building on the story, the theme, the story that you want to tell, right? Like So for me, I wanted to explore this theme of what does it mean to be a hero? Is a hero somebody who fights, or is a hero somebody who grabs their family and runs, right? Like what is it? And so that was the theme I wanted to explore. And so I need a world that I can explore that theme in. And so I need a struggle. I need a struggle. So I need different powers that are fighting against each other. So that it starts around that theme. And then you start thinking about what are the things, what are the characters, what are the people, what are the institutions, what are the powers that be that I need to create that theme, and then you start to create that. And then, plus, it's science fiction. And so what are I wanted to also kind of create this neat history of the world where she has these abilities, these skills that are kind of unique and new. It's an idea that I had. Like, she wants to join the resistance because she has these unique skills that actually make her valuable. So I had to kind of backfill a world history that made these skills something that were possible. Got into creating ancient sentient AI that left their mark on the planet and then left, thousands of years ago. So it's just kind of fun stuff like that. But yeah, a lot of it is built around what do I need to explore the theme? What are the characters? What are the skills? What's the new sort of sciencey thing that I want to explore? That's kind of what drives it. And then for when I'm writing, I spend the first probably a month or so just doing the world building and thinking things through. And then I write the story. And as I write the story, I'm like, I need to explain this. I need this, there's like all these highlighted notes throughout of all these other things I need to go back and backfill. So it's kind of an iterative process. I take a first cut at the world building, I write the story, I see where the gaps are, I see what works, what doesn't work. I go back, I redo the world building a little bit, take another cut through the story and refine from there until you kind of have a fully fleshed out world that makes the story make sense.
One thing I noticed was you call her an indigo child, and she has DNA modified by sentient AI. Explain that.
That was the fun thing, yeah. So, and that's her special skill, yeah. So, indigo children, so in this world, as I say, like 1,000 years ago, all these AI hit singularity and they became sentient. And in this world that I've created, that is a constant threat. So they rely on artificial general intelligence for a lot of things, but they've learned that they need to develop, they need to put brakes on the AI. They can't let them hit singularity where they take off, right? Because in the past, when they've let them hit singularity and let them take off, they become these sort of, these sentient AI view us like we view ants. They don't mean us ill will, but they don't care about us. And so they're pretty dangerous. And so in the history of this world, thousands of years ago, all these AI hit sentience and did a bunch of things. And one of the things that they do, it's inexplicable, it's unfathomable. Who knows what's going on in the mind of these godlike AI? But just before they left the planet, they created these indigo children. They mucked about with the DNA of these indigo children. They blanketed the planet in what I call the nano haze. And then the AI left for another star. These indigo children have the ability to interact with technology at a distance, right? So instead of having to sit down at a keyboard and, hack a computer, they can actually just influence, they can hack computers, robots, technology systems, alarms. They can kind of do that at a distance. And that's what an indigo child is. And she's one of those characters that can do that. That's one of her skills, one of her abilities. And that's why she figures she'd be actually useful in the fight.
Wow. That's, so where do these ideas come from for you? Like, how do you work it?
Like a lot of authors and writers and artists, I guess I have like a little notebook. Whenever I get a bright idea, I write something down, and then it sits and collects dust for years until I figure out a way to use it. And so that's, probably, that idea of the indigo children, the ability to affect technology at a distance. That's, an idea I had probably just years. Oh, wouldn't it be cool if somebody could do that? Wouldn't that be like a natural evolution of humans, right? This ability to actually interact with technology at a distance, right? So I just wrote that down, and then, it seems like this would be a cool story to kind of pull that out. So a lot of it is just, as you're going through life, you get inspired by things. You watch a show, it makes you think of something. You watch the news, it makes you think of something. You write a little note down. And then when it comes time to writing a story, you look at that notebook to see what are the cool things that might actually be relevant to that story. I often find a lot of ideas for plots, for characters. They comes from the news and comes from history. I love reading history and nonfiction and the news. And what actually happens in real life is way crazier than anything you could actually imagine in a story. So, you read history and you're like, holy crap, that's bonkers. And that, starts giving you ideas for characters and for worlds and for events and things like that. So, a combination of just, paying attention to the world, learning, reading, and then just, getting into that habit of whenever you have a cool idea, just writing it down and then looking for a way to use it.
Well, is that how you handle continuity as well, using like a notebook, or do you have other systems and tools to keep everything kind of fleshed out throughout the story?
Oh, that's a fun question. It's like, how do you ensure continuity? A lot of it is with sci-fi, because there is this so there's like a couple of elements of continuity. One is like plot continuity, and then the other one is world building continuity, right? With world building continuity, I kind of create like a little encyclopedia of just world, but like I have all these little file folders, like what's the history, what's the religion, culture, tech, language, quirks, stuff like that. So I just have this file folder of this encyclopedia of the world that I build up throughout the process. And then I just read, like, that becomes the Bible, the guide for anything to do with the world building aspect. And that allows me to kind of keep that consistency throughout. With plot continuity, it's just editing, more editing, letting other people read it, and then they're like, what the hell happened here? And even after all that, just before this book got published, they were like, here's the publisher's copy, right? This is going to go live. You get one last chance to read through it. And I read through it and I was like, oh shit, there's a continuity error. What the hell? I thought it was like one out of like several hundred pages. So that's pretty good. But, still, it's like, man, it's just editing, taking breaks from it. I'll do an edit and then I'll go and I'll spend 3 or 4 months working on another story. Then I'll come back and read it fresh. And then you're like, oh man, how did I miss that the first time? So yeah, just tricks like that. World building, I have an encyclopedia. Plot, just editing, taking breaks from it, coming back, getting extra pairs of eyes looking at it, and then praying to the gods of writing that you caught it all.
Yeah. Hopefully they're listening, right?
Yeah.
Well, in this, you build this whole world, and you've got this thing going on in the story in the world with Ashme song. I'd imagine you're going to take this world and use it again, right? This is like going to be a series.
So, I'm one of the few people that prefer standalone novels, and I like writing standalone novels. And so the hardest part of writing standalone novels is that you got to do world building every bloody time. And I've always been tempted to maybe I should use the same world, but just have different stories in it. So I've been tempted with that. I don't know if I will. I've been tempted with that. And I think the world that I created is rich and interesting enough, and there's a bunch of cool things you could do in the world. I say just my own personal tastes. I prefer standalone stories, but I could, Terry Pratchett's Discworld. They're all episodic stories. They're not in order. It's not a series, but they're all based in the same world. So sometimes I've thought of doing that, just having different stories in the same world.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of a cool idea, I think.
I like that too. I know. For me, series, I'm always like most series in my experience. Most series end up being about money. Like how can we just sell another book rather than about a quality story? And I know a story should have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Like a good story ends, right? I don't know. As controversial as that opinion may be, that's where my head's at.
Yeah, I think so too. I like that idea. But so violence. You mentioned violence and all that stuff. Is there a lot of violence in it? Do you write that as suspense, or what do you say?
Yeah. So there is violence in it. And my writing style has changed as when I was young, I was like, action adventure, and I wrote, violence out of a spirit of action and adventure. Then as I got old, and it's like, man, violence has a cost, right? And now, so in the stories that I write, I wouldn't characterize them as action adventure, but I do write action in the stories, but I really, it has a cost, right? It has a human cost. That's just, people dying has a real cost, and that's kind of what I try to focus on. So it does have action. There is violence in the story. It's not a glorified sense of violence. It's not like an action adventure where we're all having fun killing these faceless guards kind of a story, but it's violence. It's a story that explores the costs and the impact of violence on people and on both sides. I have characters. I have Ashme, who's kind of on the marginalized side, and there's characters on the conqueror side as well. And it looks at the impact of violence on them as well.
So there's good people on both sides.
I know, right? There's good people on both sides, but there's also bad people on both sides. That's something that I really try to focus. It's like being on a side doesn't make you righteous, right? So it's complicated, right? It's messy, it's complicated. There's people on both sides who are like, this has got to stop, and there's people on both sides who are like, let's ramp this up and go. And so I kind of tried to, by the end of the story, you'll see it's not, there's definitely a side that's bad, but there's people within the side that want to change it, and there's people on that side that want to stop it, right? It's complicated.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Life is complicated. Life is a mess. What the hell?
It is, yeah. And then we write about it.
And then we write about it.
Well, so what do you hope people get out of the book? Is there a subtext? Is there a meaning to it?
Yeah. I would like people to, so much of what we see in the world is I think of it as cycles of violence, right? Cycles of violence, right? One side does something to the other side that creates a bunch of fear and anger and hatred. They do something back, which creates fear and anger and hatred. So the other side does something back and goes back and forth. And it's just these cycles. And how do you break that cycle? And that's sort of at the end of the story. That would be a thought that I would like to linger with people. How do you break the cycle? And I think, it takes courage. One is you need to choose to step away from retribution in some way, shape, or form. You need to allow forgiveness and to just have that courage to forgive and to step away from retribution and look for a different path. That would be something like that, like having that, letting that linger in people after they finish reading the story. That would be, if I did that, that would be perfect. I would be happy.
Right. It's kind of like doing it for the kids, you know.
Doing it for the kids. Let go. Just let go of your anger.
Yeah.
Do it for the kids.
Yeah.
Do it for the children. Yeah.
So as soon as she drowns her brother, she can move on.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Yeah. She can see why that was not the choice.
Yeah, that's breaking the cycle, boy.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about where people pick up the book, where they find you, lemonade stand. Where are you?
Lemonade stand. Yeah, exactly. I'll be in front of my house. No. So the book is going to be released on December the 17th. So what is that? That's a week or so. So on December the 17th, the book is available. You can buy it wherever you buy books online, Amazon, Kobo, Barnes & Noble, wherever you buy books online. You can buy this book. You can buy hard copies as well, wherever you buy books online. If you want to find me, I'll have all the links up on my website, bradanderson2000.com. So if you can find it on Amazon, or you can just go to my website, bradanderson2000.com, and I'll have all the links there. We made it easy. We made it easy to buy. It's wherever you buy books.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's the way you should be. You make it easy.
That's the way you do it.
Right?
Yeah.
Put it through the drive-thru so people can pick one up.
Make it easy.
Yeah. Well, the book, Ashme Song. Don't miss it. Brad C. Anderson. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Brad.
This has been a production of the House of Mystery Radio Show. To find out more about our show, guests, or hosts, go to our website at houseofmysteryradio.com.